Hello everybody and welcome back to Stretchies and Stuff. My name is Jane and today I have got a nice gentle stretch for you where you're just lying on your back and kind of warming up the body or moving out any stress or tension from the hips. So today I'm also going to record a bit more of a vigorous vinyasa for you, but personally I'm a little sore today from a workout I did the other day, which was different than my normal yoga practice. So I was going to stretch myself out before I recorded this vinyasa class. And then I thought, hey, maybe a quick little stretch would be a nice thing to share with you guys as well. So if you're feeling sore or if you need to warm up or cool down from a workout, this is the place to be. So grab your mat and just lie down. You don't need anything for this class. It's just going to be a really nice, gentle, chilled out stretch. So come right onto your back and just hug your knees into your chest. You can have your knees out nice and wide. And just start to come into the breath. So you can either hold on to your hands together or you can place one hand on either knee, whatever feels the most accessible and comfortable for you. A few deep breaths here into the belly, and maybe you can feel your belly expanding and contracting on your thighs. And just let everything settle here. So feel your whole back nice and flat on the ground. Feel your shoulders relaxing onto the ground and just stay in stillness for a couple more breaths. You can maybe already start to feel a little bit of loosening up, and then just bring your hands onto your knees and draw some circles with your knees. So starting to warm up in the hip joint, noticing where you're feeling extra tight. For me, it's the inner thighs today. And just keep breathing as you keep moving. And notice if there's any clunks, and maybe we can soften some of those in the next little while. Switch directions. And keep the jaw nice and soft. Do whatever you need to do to be really relaxed here. Good. And now this time, when the knees come off to the side, just hold them there. So our legs are a little bit wider, almost like a happy baby, and just rock your knees from side to side. So we're not going into full happy baby yet. Just, again, moving the upper leg bone around in the hip joint, stretching out the inner thighs a little bit more. Good. And then bring the knees together. Give yourself a nice big hug, maybe curl your forehead up. And release. Bring the right foot down on the ground and just cross the left ankle over the right knee. And come into a figure four. So pretty straightforward here. And just notice what feels good for you. So maybe you just stay here, or maybe you bring this whole figure four into the chest a little bit, just using the right leg to hoist it up. Maybe you interlace your hands behind your right thigh, or maybe in front of the right knee to get a little bit deeper. And then imagine energetically pushing that left knee away from your body. So trying to get the hips level on the ground. And stay here for 5 nice long inhales and exhales. Notice as you breathe into the stretch, if you can go a little bit deeper, or maybe you want to rock the structure from side to side a little bit just to explore different areas. Take one more full inhale here and full exhale. and release the knee. You can scooch your hips over to the left, but keep the left leg crossing in our figure 4 position, and just drop your right leg, your whole structure of figure 4 here, over to the right side and come into a bit of a twist, but with your left foot flat on the ground. I'll just move over a bit so that you can definitely see what's going on here. So we've got the left foot flat on the ground, knee pointing up towards the sky. You can bring your left arm up and just give your gaze, let your gaze fall over to the left side. I like to gently push the inner edge of my left leg away. Some people like to hold the left ankle. You just decide what's good for you. You might feel a really deep stretch across the outer hips. You might not feel much of anything, and if you don't, then try to scooch your left foot in a little bit more. This is one of my favorite hip stretches, twists. And once you've found a place that feels right for you, just come into 3 more inhales and exhales here. Last one, enjoy it. Maybe go a little bit deeper. And release. Come through center. Keep the left ankle over the right knee. Bring the right leg up and then just cross your left ankle over your right as though you're sitting in a chair cross-legged. So your knees are kind of stacking over top of one another. And stay here if that feels kind of challenging, but if not, you can grab onto your shins or your calves, whatever feels good. And if you want to go a little bit deeper while keeping the feet flexed, just grab onto the bottoms of the feet so that your fingers wrap around the outer edges of the feet, and just pull the feet in towards the body while resisting the knees away from the body. I always kind of feel like I'm driving like a big sports car, or maybe more like a motorcycle, and my hands are the handles of the motorcycle. So try to steer that motorcycle in a way that gets you into a really nice stretch for the outer left hip. And if this feels like you could go a little bit deeper, or you want to get a little bit more solid in the pose, imagine just pointing your tailbone a bit more down to the ground. And try to keep nice and zipped up in the core. Stay strong while releasing. Good. One more deep breath here. Maybe pull your handlebars a little closer into the body while pushing the tailbone down, pushing the knees away. And gently release. Keep the legs crossed if that feels good for you. If not, you can just bring the knees beside each other, and we're just going to come into a twist. So let both knees fall over to the right and gaze over the left arm. So we did kind of a hip stretch twist before. This is a bit more for the spine. So see if you can bring both of your shoulders flat on the ground, or in the direction of flat on the ground. And just take a few nice deep breaths in, visualizing yourself gaining some mobility in the spine, releasing tension. One more deep breath here. And notice if you're holding on anywhere, and soften. And bring the head so that you're looking back up towards the ceiling, and just bring your knees back into center. Bring your hips back into center. You can arrange yourself as we're going to go on this journey on the other side now. So bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a nice big hug. Whoa, notice if your left side is feeling a little bit more open. And then place your left foot on the ground, flex your right ankle. So the right ankle is over top of the left knee. And either stay here, and remember, this side's completely different to the other. So do what feels best in your body. If you would like to continue on, you can slowly bring that left knee in towards the chest, so that the whole right leg comes in. But then imagine pushing the right knee away. Sometimes I like to even do it with my hand, but if you want, you can interlace your hands anywhere on the left leg and just energetically push your right leg away from your body. And again, in this stretch, you want to point your tailbone down towards the ground, flatten the whole back onto the earth, and check in if your shoulders or your jaw or your brow are doing unnecessary work, and try to just relax. Breathe really deeply into the outer hip, maybe the inner hip as well, depending on how sore you are. And stay here for 3 more long cycles of breath. Last full inhale. And exhale. And now you can put the structure down, so your left foot down, and lift your hips up and just let it fall over to the left side like we did on the other side. You might again notice quite a difference from side to side. But as a reminder, the right foot is flat on the ground. The left knee is bent and falling over to the left side. And the right knee is pointing up towards the sky. Right arm can come up overhead or in a cactus. And then you choose. I like to push the inner edge of the right leg away, almost extremely rotating the thigh bone. But some people like to get deeper by pulling on the right ankle and bringing it closer to the body. So whatever feels good for you, but it's going to be a really nice stretch in that right outer hip. And if anything doesn't make sense, you can always ask. You can leave a comment or get in touch. This is one of those poses that I get really excited. I'm like, oh, you're going to love this. And then I find that like half of the people that do it don't feel anything. And that's just because we're all different. So if this is not feeling like a deep stretch for you, that's amazing. Totally fine. But if you're with me, this is a big glute medius outer hip stretch. One more breath here. And then gently, first bring your head up to look up, and then bring that whole structure back up. Lift the left leg off the ground and slide the right knee down. So we're crossing our legs on the other side now. And either you can just stay here if this is really intense. If this is even too much, you might have your legs crossed in a completely different way, whatever you can do, however deep you can go. And then just explore, maybe just grabbing above the knees or the shins and just bringing that structure in towards the body. And then maybe start to creep your hands down your shins. And then maybe you reach under the bottoms of your feet so that you can grab the outer edge of the feet. And oh my goodness, this is a lot tighter on this side for me. So then notice what happens as you steer that motorcycle, steering your hips kind of from side to side, trying to find a bit of balance. But you'll notice as you do move this around, you get some different sensations. So stay here for a good couple more breaths. See if you can relax anything that you don't need. And if you want more, always just push that tailbone a little bit closer down to the ground. Hug the feet in a little bit closer. One more deep inhale. And exhale everything out. Release. Plant the left foot down on the ground, and you choose, as we come into our twist, you can either undo the legs or keep them twisted. I find this is a little intense on the spine to keep them twisted. So if you want to just stack your knees, that is just great as well. And try to encourage the right shoulder to relax on the ground. And soften the face. And I always like to visualize what's going on in my torso, my spine, and try to soften with every breath. One more cycle here. And bring the gaze up towards the sky. Roll yourself back. Give yourself a nice big hug. Rock from side to side. And now let's come back into those circles with the knees. Notice any difference, a little bit more space, and switch directions. And then plant your feet on the ground as wide as the mat, and just let the knees fall in towards each other. Place your hands on your thighs and just push your thighs away from your hips, if that makes sense. So put the heels of your hands into your hip creases and just gently push away, making a little bit of extra space. And release. Bring the hands down by your sides, and you can either stay here for Shavasana with the knees bent and the knees falling in towards each other. Constructive rest pose, which is really nice for relaxing the hips and relaxing the pelvis. Or you can come into a traditional Shavasana. Another great option here would be to put your legs up the wall. Just find a really nice, gentle way to rest that feels therapeutic and like an act of self-care for your body. And once you found that comfortable resting position, just stay here for as long as you want. As always, I invite you to pause this video so that no distracting YouTube things start playing. And that is if you would like to stay in Shavasana, pause the video. But if you are finishing up with me, lying down, just bring your hands to your torso. So your right hand on your belly, your left hand on your ribs, or your chest. And just take a moment to silently express some gratitude to yourself, to your amazing body, and for the fact that you've taken some time to show it some love. Thank you so much for practicing with me. See you soon. Namaste.